We are live, man. It is fight night. I know y'all are happy. I'm happy. We've already had some amazing fights. We're gonna have some more. You know, this whole day has been good. If you're a basketball fan, we got us some NBA playoffs, so everything has been good, man. Y'all know where to find me. We're gonna rock for an hour. We're gonna talk about some good stuff. Like I said, we done had some good fights already. So we're going to talk about what went down earlier, what's going down tonight, and what we got going on in the not so distant future. You know what I mean? We got some big stuff happening this month, actually. To close out the month, we got some real good stuff. So we're going to get into all that, man. You know, we're going to get into all that. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to rock with y'all for about an hour. We're going to keep each other entertained until the pay-per-view goes live. Let me see if I can get my people in here. Let me see if they ready yet. They may not even be ready yet, but we're going to find out, y'all. And, hey, at any point you want to join the conversation, my boy Keys from Wrestling Talk Radio, if you down to talk a little Errol Spence versus Ugas, man, send me the request. Join in on the conversation, man. That's what makes the whole show is people, you know, joining in and having fun and making it one big party. You know, it's cool to ramble on for an hour, but it's not as cool unless you have, you know what I'm saying, people in there rocking with you. So, yeah, anybody and everybody stopping through, they're more than welcome to join the conversation. So we're going to see if we can get J Mac in here to join the little round table. We're going to get going. If not, hey, show must go on, right? You know we're going to be all right either way. So that y'all have nothing to worry about. Y'all got me, all right? Y'all got me. I feel you, Keith. Hopefully everything worked out well with the move, man. You know, sorry, couldn't help you out, man. We had a whole bunch of influx that came in, a whole bunch of stuff that happened kind of all at once. So I was telling that, my dude, hey, Joe, good to see you, man. Tap in. We just wait for some people to come through, and we're going to talk some boxing tonight, man. We done had some good fights already. We got some good stuff tonight, man. So, hey, if you're free, man, tap in. Yeah, man, Conor Ben earlier today did his thing, man. He took care of Chris Van Heerden. So we got to start looking at, as far as Conor Ben, like what do we do, you know, with him, because he's starting to show that he's got some talent, man. He's gotten better and better. He's had some legitimate opponents recently, you know. So do you put him in there with someone that's elite in the class, or do you know, maybe take a little step up, maybe not quite all the way up to who we're going to see tonight, those guys, but take a little step up, you know what I mean? Give them maybe like a Kell Brook or something like that. You know, they, in the ring, man, they had, I got to take a sip of this. Y'all, man, where do y'all hear this? So after the fight, right? Mind you, all right, he just knocked this man out, right? So, usually when another fighter comes in the ring, after a fighter won, there's something going on there, like a potential matchup kind of deal, right? So he just knocks this man out, and mind you, Conor Ben has been knocking, you know, his past couple opponents out, so he's got a nice little streak going. The man that they brought in the ring after he won was Amir Khan. I want y'all to think about that for a second, man. Amir Khan. That's a fight that does absolutely nothing for Conor Ben, if you ask me. Why? Because Amir Khan, he did his thing. He's world champion. He's reached the highest level, pinnacle. You know what I mean? Can't get no higher world champion. He did, you know, what he was supposed to do in the career. But if you look at this, where we're at now, this stage, he's not the same guy, dude. He's not, man. I mean, we gotta be real with ourselves. He's not the same fighter. And that fight that he just had with Kell Brook kind of made that obvious. You know what I mean? Like he's good until he gets hit. And then when he gets hit, and it's good things don't usually happen, man. He doesn't take getting hit too well, and I mean, who does? But with him, man, it's that it doesn't do anything for him. Like if you're gonna put him in there with somebody, put him in there that's at least in their prime, not over the hill. Like his Conor Ben's trajectory should be going this way, should be going up. So there shouldn't be anything that people have questions about his opponent. It's like, yo, is he shot? Well, he beat up a 37-year-old shot fighter or something like that now. This kid now, Conor Ben needs to be in a situation where his trajectory is going up. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens with Conor Ben. A name that was thrown out on the wall too, or in the comment section, I should say, was Boots Ennis. That would be good for the fans, but I don't know about the timing on that one because they both have the potential to be big stars. You know what I mean? So I think like derailing one of them this early in their career could be tough. You know what I'm saying? I say let these dudes win a couple fights. Well, Boots, they've both been winning fights, but let them get some high-profile wins, over some names. I want to see Keith Thurman in the mix. Keith Thurman has been talking about the fight tonight, but, he's got to put together a body of work to kind of help remind the boxing crowd just exactly who he is. He's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from Keith Thurman, but in boxing, you gotta have the results. You gotta put the work in. Like you can't just, win one fight and say, it should be my fight. Prove to the people. Prove to the people, because the people gonna back you up. The people gonna vouch for you. If you don't believe me, like take a look at some of these bad decisions. Like when when somebody gets a controversial decision, tell me that the fans don't go all over social media and say how this person was robbed. Or even when that promoter or that company will post a result to the fight, like such and such wins by split decision. Look at the comment section. You'll see robbery. This person was robbed. So, the people going to back you up. So we'll see what happens with Conor Ben. I certainly hope it's not Amir Khan, just because of the simple fact, like I said, it doesn't really do anything for him. If it was something that could help him out and help his career out, that's one thing. But I don't see any kind of, benefits, I guess is the best word to use in this situation. I don't really see any kind of benefits with him fighting him, really be honest with you. Let me, hold on a second, y'all. Okay. But yeah. So that situation is gonna unfold. So, we'll see how that goes down. Speaking of, like I said a little bit ago, this entire month though, man. This entire month is stacked. Because we got Ugas and Spence tonight. And then next week you got Tyson Fury versus Dillian White for the heavyweight championship. That's gonna be over there across the pond in the UK. So that one's going to be coming up. Also, on the 30th, you got Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. That's going to be, if it's not the biggest, it's probably the biggest fight that's happened in recent history in women's boxing, to be honest with you. Maybe the biggest. You know what I'm saying? Because you got two champions in their prime fighting each other. And that's what fans want. You know what I'm saying? Even people that don't really flock to women's boxing like that for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? There's plenty of really good female fighters out there. Why they don't get the platform like men do, and I have no idea. You know what I mean? But that fight is two great fighters in their primes. They're headlining Madison Square Garden. You got to give kudos to Jake Paul. Jake Paul's promoter for Amanda Serrano. Amanda Serrano has been doing this thing for so long at an elite level, man. She She's been winning world championships all over so many different weight classes. She has numbers on par with Manny Pacquiao. So Amanda Serrano has every right to be on a pedestal. So it's finally good to see Amanda Serrano getting the credit she deserves and be able to have that platform with Katie Taylor. It's going to be a good fight. I can't wait to see it. And then the 30th, that same day, y'all, we got Oscar Valdez and we got Shakur Stevenson. Let me know in the comments section what y'all think about that, because it goes back to what we were just saying. You got two good fighters fighting each other in their primes. That's what the fans want at the end of the day. We don't want a fight that could be good happen 10 years from now because somebody wants to get paid more, or they feel like, it's sometimes it's not about that. It shouldn't be about that. Devin Haney put it perfect. He said, I'm going to take less money. I'm going to go over. I'm going to beat the champion. Then I get to call the shots. Then I get to do whatever. I get to make the rules. I get to, it's my show at that point. But you don't really get to do that until you earn that spot. So Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson, man, I can't wait for that one. Me personally, that is going to be a good one. So you got that whole last little bit of this month. This is going to be amazing. So we're going to see how everything plays out, and they're all important fights too. If you look at it, each fight is very important. Like we said earlier, the one with Dillian White and Tyson Fury. That's for the heavyweight championship. So that one's important. Then you're going to move on to Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. Like I said, two of the best in female boxing, period, in any weight class. You can take all the weight classes and get a list of all the top women boxers in the whole game. Their names would be towards the top of the list, both of them. So you're going to see who's arguably the best female fighter along with Clarissa Shields. I know the UK fans are going to get a little upset by me not saying Savannah Marshall, but y'all have to understand. I live in the United States, all right? I see Clarissa Shields more than I see Savannah Marshall. From what I've seen from Savannah Marshall, she's got power, but I haven't seen enough of her. I looked at her record. I look at who she fought. I have some questions about who she's knocked out. I have, if you fighting somebody that's 3-25, I'm going to have questions. Because if you look at Clarissa Shields' resume, Clarissa Shields has fought champion after champion after champion. She's fought elite fighter after elite fighter. There are no 3-25s. There's no, there's none of that on her record. So I think Clarissa Shields is the best female boxer right now. And so I think Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, that winner, you could put them at 1B or number 2, however you want to put your list. But that fight is definitely going to be important. And then Valdez and Stevenson. Come on, baby. Y'all already know. Y'all already know what time it is. That was going to unify. That was for a unified championship. It's going to see who, what's next for the winner and the loser. So, plenty of options after that. And a good fight, too, that just got announced was Luis Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz. I like that because Andy Ruiz was actually supposed to fight Tyrone Sprague. I think he's a retired kickboxer. I haven't heard of him. But, apparently that fight was supposed to be with Boxer or one of those companies. The fight fell through, so now he's going to be fighting Luis Ortiz. To be honest with y'all, I like that fight better than the original. I like this Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz fight better than the Sprong fight. Because why? It's names. It's a name. If you ask boxing fans who's who, they're more inclined to recognize the Luis Ortiz name. Luis Ortiz has actually had some relevant and high-profile fights in the heavyweight division. And if Andy Ruiz wants to be serious about getting a title shot at some point, which I would certainly hope that's the case, I would like to think that he would want his titles back at some point. So the best course of action to get to those belts, if you look at those two opponents, Sprague or Luis Ortiz, the path through Luis Ortiz, Luis Ortiz is probably going to give him a better opportunity to get to the belts versus fighting Tyrone Sprague, who people really, they don't even know who this man is. So, I like that Luis Ortiz and Andy Ruiz fight, man. I really do. It's supposed to be going down this summer. J Mac, what's going on, brother? If you wanna join in, man, send a request, brother. It's always good talking boxing with you. We're just chopping it up right now, talking about this Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz fight that just got made in place of what was originally supposed to go down. So just kind of sharing what we think about that, man. And some of these other fights in April. We had a bunch of them that's going down. So we definitely having some fun. We have some good conversation. But hopefully J Mac can we got a little we got a little request. We're gonna see what's happening. We got a request. And we got what is happening? How's it going, my brother? How's it going, my brother? J-Mac, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, man, hanging in there. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad. Finally get to enjoy a weekend off or a Saturday off at least.
I hear that, man. I hear that, man. Good to see you again. Hopefully you're doing well, man. It's been a minute since you've been able to stop through.
Oh, yeah. Everything's smooth. How about yourself? I know it has been too long.
Yeah, man. But hey, that's life. That's life, bro. You know what I mean? We men, we work. We got to do what we got to do. So right. I'm good, brother. I'm blessed. Everything's been going good. We got us some good boxing tonight.
Soon as I it's funny because I was driving from I just went and got a new cigar, and when I saw you were going live, it was funny because I saw a post you put up last night about the fight with Ruiz and Ortiz. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I want to see more of Ruiz fight.
Yes,
I really do. Like I before the Anthony Joshua, the first fight when he was a replacement for him, never heard of the cat, and then he got instant fame, upsetting the heavyweight champion at the time. So I know he's been critiqued a little bit too much, I think, by fans and critics, but I don't think I think it's actually a good fight for him. And it's actually this is going to be a bigger fight for him, bigger than when he fought Joshua. Mm-hmm. Just because this is going to be a real test for you as far as can you really bounce back. When he fought who was the last fight?
Areola. He fought Chris
Areola. Mm-hmm. I mean, it went. I didn't really see much dominance, but at the same, Areola's a vet. He is not going to let you just push him around. Or, even if it's not going to be an easy win for him, it's not going to be a knockout for you. You know what I mean? So, but I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that fight for sure.
Definitely, man. Yeah, you made a good point, man. Like I want to see him fight too, and that's probably why sometimes I'm hard on certain fighters. The only reason why is because I know how good they can be. I know how fun they are to watch at certain points, and they may not be on TV enough, and that's frustrating as a fan sometimes when you see talent that you believe could be special and could be, somebody that you really want to watch. They're not fighting for whatever reason, whether it's whatever kind of shape they keep themselves in, whether it's their promoter, whether it's people that don't really want to fight them. That's the frustrating thing. That's why I'm hard on. And sometimes it's not even their fault that they can't get a fight. People just don't want to fight them. But just from a fan perspective, it's frustrating. Like Andy Ruiz is someone I think that if he's in good shape and takes it serious, we've seen what kind of hand speed he has. We saw that against Joshua.
Deadly, yeah.
You know what I mean? So if he were to take it serious and say, okay, right now you're not really taking it seriously. That's what reports say. I'm not in the gym, so I can't really speak on that. But there have
Right.
been reports saying that he doesn't really take it that serious. So now it becomes a question. It's like, okay, if he does take it serious, what kind of level could he be at? You know what I mean? Could he be up there in the conversation with some of the upper echelon heavyweights?
Right.
You know, or could he be right there where he's at? We don't know because we haven't seen him tap into that level yet.
Right. Right.
But
And you know what? And to your point, to be honest, I really think the heavyweight game in the last, I say 3, maybe 4 years has actually been resurrected a little bit.
yeah,
And a lot of that you got to attribute to Tyson Fury. Obviously, he's brought a lot of popularity to that division. Deontay Wilder here on here in the States. Andy Ruiz as well. But when I'm looking at cats like Andy Ruiz, who I really want to, know more about, and like you said, you hear cats say like, he's not taking it that serious. I got that feeling as well. I knew when he started training with Canelo, and Canelo, I thought Canelo has gotten him in a lot better shape as far as what he wants with him. I remember that second fight against Joshua. It looked like he put on a little bit more weight, and wasn't as crisp, And I know sometimes I don't like the term overconfident because, if you're overconfident, I think you're still confident. But some people look at it as, you'll forget certain things. It's like you're just being a little bit too nonchalant. But I do believe. So you're saying, yeah, you want to see the progression of a fighter for sure. I remember I sparred against a cat that was about the size of Andy Ruiz, but I mean, honestly, dude hit me almost. He hit me like Zab Judah, or maybe like big guys aren't supposed to throw punches that fast, and he has it, and you've seen him do it before. You know what I mean? So. And then you got to look at Ortiz, who, that's not a blum either. That's not a tomato can, that's like saying the N-word to a boxer. You know what I mean? You call someone a tomato can. But no, this is going to be a pretty good fight for both of them, I think. And I want to see Andy. I want to see him get better, and I want to see his name get bigger. He's a solid cat too. So I really want to, expand his game.
I agree. Before we get into what's going down tonight, I got one more fight that I want to talk to you about, because I mean the whole rest of this month is just filled with treats for boxing fans, man. Just sit back and enjoy about the next 2 or 3 weeks, because you got Fury versus Dillian White. You got that happening next week.
Exactly.
You got Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. You got that on the 30th. And on the same day, you have the fight that I'm getting ready to ask you about. You have Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson. All right? We got 2 young lions in their prime. Yeah. I love this fight, man. That I don't want to say I'm looking forward to this fight more than the next one and kind of take away from how special those other fights are. But, man, this one sticks out to me, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because both of these young men are special. We've seen them do special things against, top-notch opponents. So now it's to a point where we're seeing the best fight the best in their prime. And as a fan, that's what you want at the end of the day, Right. So my question to you is, how do you see that fight going down in about the next 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks?
With Shakur Stevenson?
Yes, sir.
Honestly, you know what? I'll put Shakur on the same. I don't say he's not the same type of fighter as Ryan Garcia, but he talks as if he talks almost the same game as far as you're supposed to believe in yourself. You got to get that. And I think he says things. He wants the best for himself, yeah, but he hasn't shown why we should believe that. The same thing about Ryan Garcia. I know we saw the fight last week. I think his camp said, or his corner said it was supposed to be, they expected to end that fight in 2 rounds. Thing went the distance, you know what I mean? And Shakur, I mean, I honestly believe he could be the next that's the one I would invest in as far as like if I wanted to see somebody between what's today, the 16th, so April 16th today, April 16th next year. If I were to have $1 million to bet on who could be the next pound for pound out of Stevenson, Haney, Spence, Crawford, I would put my money on Stevenson only because of his youth, his eagerness, and his actual focus. You know, this is gonna be tonight. Will be Spence's first fight in a good while. I know we were supposed to see him fight Pacquiao. So it's like, you know, there's stuff that gets taken away from there. Bud Crawford, you know, he's getting up with a lot of promoters, not necessarily putting him in a certain you know, light as far as I remember like with Sean Porter, that was actually a pretty good, you know, pairing. I thought was, you know, would have been a money fight. But for Shakur, I really believe that's a fight. This is a fight that he needs, shutting up a naysayer.
Yeah.
Like with Ryan last week, had he won by knockout, Ryan could have shut up a lot of people. And
Right.
I'm hoping, you know, this is going to be 2-1 for Shakur because one, I mean, he hasn't really done anything to show you to not believe him. You know, he's had a lot of good. He's had good fights. He hasn't fought any bums. He hasn't really fought anybody that, you know, wasn't really questionable. That was a questionable opponent. But at the same time, you want to see more. You always want to see more out of a fighter. Everybody, you know, you ask the average Canelo fan, why are you Canelo? Why do you think Canelo is the best? They'll give you, 10 reasons in a matter of 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, and I'm a Shakur fan, I can't give you those reasons right now. And I want to give those reasons out. And I'm thinking that, you know, a fight like this is going to help. But, you know, he's not fighting a chump. He's not fighting anybody that doesn't have, you know, they're both undefeated, I think. I know Shakur is what? Is he at 21-0?
I think so. And Oscar Valdez, he's undefeated as well. You know, a lot of Mexican fighters, man, they'll be having a lot of fights at a young age. They'll be 50-0 by the time they reach 25 years old. So it's like, man, who you been fighting? You've been fighting since you were 13 years old, bro?
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
Like what, 4-5 times a year almost.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So yeah, he's like I said, he's no punk, he's no pushover.
Yeah.
I know one rule, especially with Mexican and Puerto Rican fighters, you never stand toe to toe with them. You never stand toe to toe with them.
That's a fact.
I think Shakur, and I hope he doesn't get baited, especially with against Oscar. But I think if he were to try to stand toe to toe, he'd be a little bit more successful than most people will give him credit for, just because he's one of the very few fighters I know that has an elusiveness while being flat-footed, meaning it's almost like it's almost like a Elastic Man. You know what I mean? He's got a certain lean. You know, I've seen the way his counter punches are. His counter punches are it's almost like he'll lean one way and you see that left coming with an uppercut. Like you still leaning back, bro. How you even reaching? How you connecting that? So that's why I'm thinking. You know, and again, I don't think Shakur is crazy enough to stand toe to toe with Oscar Valdez at all. I mean, I hope he doesn't. But if there was one fighter that would, last a little bit longer as far as toe to toe level, Shakur could probably get it.
Yeah. I love the fight, man. I've been swaying back and forth on who I think, but I think recently Shakur has been my answer because he just has just some people you watch. I've been watching boxing since I was 3, right? And there's just some people, I'm not saying I'm professional or anything like that, but there's just some people when you watch, you're like, he has it.
Yeah.
There's something about him that sticks out. And Shakur Stevenson, he has it already. And to your point, his youth, the fact that he's already displaying something special this young, with his fight IQ and his ability to not get hit, it's like, the sky's the limit for him, really, to be honest with you. And a fight like this is needed because all the great fighters at some point they have fought other great fighters, even Hall of Famers, at some point, even if they're promoters now, De La Hoya and Mayweather and all that stuff. Some people say Tank Davis really ain't fighting elite level. Floyd Mayweather at some point he had to fight somebody for real, and also De La Hoya. Yeah, they had to fight somebody.
That was the fight for Floyd.
Absolutely.
His daddy even leaked in saying after he got the win, first thing Floyd said in that locker room was, "Keep him away from me. I don't want to see him again." You never saw that rematch. Yeah. Emmanuel Augustus tested a lot of cats, and
I'm telling you, man, he said that was his toughest.
That was the one for Floyd.
Yeah, he said. I think I saw an interview where he said that was his toughest opponent, man. So the Drunken Master, man, shout out to him. That dude was.
Yeah.
He was special, man. Hard to figure out. Tonight, man. Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that, like, real boxing fans, we know how good he was. Just some people, they look at his record. People look at records and they start to assume things, looking at somebody's record just because they have a certain amount of losses. Like Mickey Ward. Mickey Ward's got a lot of losses, but I bet you, during his prime, well, not even like during his prime, he would be able to sell out in a ring. Even with double-digit losses. Why? Because he's entertaining, and he lost to the best. Gabe Rosado, okay, he's got double-digit losses, but people are intrigued to see him fight whenever he fights because they know what they're getting from him. That's what it's all about.
Right.
But I want to switch gears tonight, man, because you already know what time it is, man. You know what day it is. You know what we got going on tonight, man.
It's the one.
The names that's involved, the weight class, what could possibly happen after that, man. We got to touch on all that. So, we got to have that subject for about 30 minutes alone. I want to try to kill the first 30 minutes because this segment right here is probably going to take a whole 30 minutes with this fight and everything that happens after. Tonight, man, we got Errol Spence, strap season, welterweight champion versus your Dennis Ugas, welterweight champion. We got the WBC belt, which is Errol Spence, WBA, I want to say, which is Ugas, and I want to say IBF, which is Spence also. I know Spence has 2. I know Ugas has 1. If I get the bodies mixed up, I do apologize. But we have a unification bout.
Mm-hmm.
Winner gets all the belts. I had a little post. I wanted some predictions on, what you think is going to happen. If I'm not mistaken, you told me that Errol Spence was going to stop your Dennis Ugas in round 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Talk to me, man. Talk to me. What goes down, man? How does it pop off?
The only reason I say that is because like I said earlier, this is Spence's first fight in a while. What was he pulled out of the Pacquiao fight? Was it his thumb or his whole hand?
It was his eye.
It was his eye.
It was his eye. Yep. He had like a detached retina.
A training accident, wasn't it? Okay.
Well, because he had the car accident, and then he came back from the car accident. The Pacquiao fight was signed, and during training, that's when he got the eye injury that he had to pull out of that about 3 weeks before. That's when Ugas came in. Ugas beat Pacquiao, and now here we are. So yeah, it was a I want to say a sparring accident from what I heard, like with headgear on too.
Yeah, which is it was kind of that was kind of sus for me for a minute. It was a little suspect. It's like, but nowadays promoters, you get, especially in the COVID era, you get a paper cut. They promoters might want to go overreact, but listen, the reason I said that was, even though Pacquiao is retired now, Pacquiao is still a beast. All right. I done heard all the old man jokes about Pacquiao. Ain't no such thing as an old man fighter. No such thing as that. You know what I mean? You got breath, you got to fight. And Ugas really didn't. I mean, yeah, he won. Yeah, you kind of knew he was going to win when it came down to the 9th and 10th round. He didn't really take the whole fight to me, though, as far as like what you would have thought. And so I'm looking at that. The only reason I say it like that is because for Errol Spence, there was a fight he had against It was before the accident. You know the last fight he had before his car accident?
Danny Garcia?
That it was Danny
What?
Garcia.
Was it because
it was not Danny.
he fought Danny first fight back.
Yeah.
Was it the Porter fight? Because he fought all top people since it's been Sean Porter and I want to say Danny. I want to say it was Sean Porter.
Porter fight I'm thinking of. But basically, it was something. He gets into it like he fights like a basketball player plays a basketball game. You got the first half, you got the second half, and when it comes to Earl Spence, he and Bud Crawford, they know how to do. After that 7th round, it's like, all right, this is the second half of the fight, you know, and they don't get tired. They don't if they switch up, it's another gear. Ugas or whatever, his gear is the same the entire fight, which is straight go, and it's powerful. But you can get figured out sometimes by the later portion. Well, when you fighting a Pacquiao, you gonna get figured out if you're lasting that long in the fight. Whereas somebody else, they could figure out, but they might get knocked out, or they might, the ref might stop it. So this is going to be one of those irresistible force versus unmovable object kind of battles or whatever. But I say Spence just because Spence has that second gear for Spence when he turns it on. It's almost a guarantee that you're not going to be a lot more. He's won a lot more in the later rounds in his fights, especially when it comes to fighters that are the first time fighting as a champion. This is what Ugas, like you said, he's WBO right now.
I think it's WBA. I think it's WBA for Ugas.
So for what I mean, as a fighter, you want to get every strap you can. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that he doesn't necessarily think that it's a cake. I hope neither fighter thinks it's a cakewalk. Okay, but it's like this. This is why I'm so confident with Spence. Bruh if you can take a scrappy fighter and a genius fighter, street fighter and a student, and put them together, you got to have no defense. And that's something you don't necessarily see a whole lot of. It's going to be normally one or the other. And I look at Ugas and I'm thinking, Ugas is like, he's a scrappy student, but he doesn't necessarily have there's certain fundamentals. I don't know if he's actually like really mastered them. Like his jab wasn't really always consistent for every round to me. He's got a jab, but I mean, I don't see his jab necessarily in every single round, especially when it's going to come down to the later portion of a fight. Whereas Spence, he'll double up on you.
Yeah,
Spence will, he'll double them jabs up. You'll see less power shots and more power jabs out of Spence than you will, you'll see counter shots and body shots, but you'll see, double jabs here, to the face, hook to the body. Whereas in the first half of the fight, he's going to feel a little bit more. And Ugas, I think, is, like I said, he's just straight go. And those power shots, they might not necessarily be as effective when it comes to the second half of the fight. So if I'm going to see Earl Spence in this fight, I don't see him getting knocked. I don't see him getting knocked down. I also don't see him getting touched a lot, just because he doesn't like to stay in the same spot often. And Ugas is kind of more of a he wants to create an island. He's very good at cornering you. He is very good at cornering somebody. I saw one of his fights I think he fought in Canada or something. I was watching something on YouTube, a Pacquiao fight, and bro was just cornering somebody just almost every chance he got. So, a fighter like that, if I can figure that out from my couch or whatever, I'm hoping that somebody's in Spence's camp has actually saw that as well. And brought that to him, and I think that's gonna work more in Spence's point. Like if you try to corner Spence, it's like that's the one thing you don't want to do to me is corner me, because it's gonna be hell. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. Ugas got a little bit of trouble on his hand when it comes to the later portion of the fight.
See, I even got the Spence shirt on right now. You know what I'm saying? The one that I went to the Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence fight down in Texas, and I got this shirt. So I'm an Errol Spence fan through and through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love his fight style.
Right.
But one thing I do know, I think the world tonight is going to see. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I think people tonight, they're going to see how good Ugas is, because if Spence does get, I really don't think Errol knocks him out, to be honest with you, because I think Ugas is tough. You know what I mean? Like he displayed the chin. He got touched a couple times by Manny, and when he did get touched a couple times, he was able to get back to his game plan. He wasn't deterred easily from what he wanted to accomplish, which was, trying to keep the jab in Manny's face and kind of disrupt his rhythm. And that's what he was able to do throughout the fight. One thing about Ugas and, his makeup and everything, and just looking at the whole spectrum, Sean Porter said it perfectly too. He said, when you're the top guy like Errol Spence and you're someone like Ugas, if Ugas is training for someone, he's training for that opponent, but he's also training for Errol Spence because he knows eventually where he wants to get to. So something tells me, like, these past 4 or 5 fights, Ugas has been watching Spence like a hawk. He's been watching his tendencies. He's been watching, what he does well, what he doesn't do well. When it's a goal that you want to accomplish that bad, you look and see who the champion is. And you may not make it known to the world, but when you're training and, when you're watching videos, you're watching the end result of where you want to get to and who you're possibly going to have to fight in order to take what they have, what you want. So I think Ugas has been watching Spence. I think he knows what he's good at and what he's not good at. And I think there's going to be some figuring out and some adjustments that Errol is going to have to do. There's going to be a couple moments he's going to, probably sit back and say, oh, man, this is a little bit more than what I thought it was going to be. I still think Errol wins the fight, don't get me wrong. But I think coming out of this fight, Ugas is going to be a more respected name, because I think even with the Pacquiao victory, people still kind of dismiss Ugas because it's always about Crawford Spence. That's the fight I want to see. It's a fight everybody wants to see, but it's always Crawford Spence.
And that's unfair. That's unfair too. Yeah.
Right. And I think Ugas hears that too, and he's like, hold on, wait a minute, man. I'm here too. And I think, a combination of all those things is going to make up for a very good fight. So I think Ugas is going to bring more than I think a lot of people may think, because a lot of people just thinking Spence going to, typical Errol Spence, what we're used to seeing from Errol Spence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do his thing and dominate. People think, another Errol Spence victory.
Yeah.
The people that watch boxing, they know that it's not going to be that easy. Even if he does get the stoppage late, like I said, there's going to be some early part in that fight. He's going to have to make some adjustments. And that's when we're really going to see how good Errol Spence is. Can he make those adjustments like Terence Crawford does?
Right.
I'm sure he can. We just want to see him do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because as a boxing fan, you see it happening, you're like, boom. That's going to help when you fight, because initially they're trying to take away something that they saw that you do well. Mm-hmm. And let's just say they did take it away. Now you got to make the adjustments to maybe get something in there that they weren't game planning for. And then hopefully you can fight that way or do whatever it is that you got to do. But I think it's going to be a real good fight, man, because you got an exceptional boxer with Errol Spence, and you got a super durable, hungry fighter that wants, what he's been after for the longest, man. So anytime you get those two components in a fight, it always makes up for something special, man. And both of these guys, they're in their prime too. I know they're in their 30s. 30. I think Ugas is 35, and I want to say Spence is 32. So they're still in that prime window. So, you know what, bro? There were some days that I was thinking Ugas is going to win the fight. Like, I've really been back and forth. Majority of days I'm saying Spence, and there are a couple days that's in there, man, and I'm like, yo, it wouldn't shock me if Ugas wins this thing.
It wouldn't be a shocker.
It
wouldn't be a shocker. Nah.
Because, I mean, people are so used to seeing, like I said, Errol Spence dominate, and we're talking about top 3 pound for pound right now, arguably. You know, so it's a body of work that we're used to seeing from him. And you got Ugas coming in that could possibly shake things up, man. So I think no matter how we think the fight may go, I think one thing that everybody can agree on, man, is that it has the makings of a good fight. You know, it definitely has the makings of a good fight and something special. I can't wait to see it. But there's a lot on the table even after, man. Even after this fight is over with, because there's one more belt that's out there. And I think the goal for all 3 of these guys, Spence, Crawford, and Ugas, is to be unified champion. I think they all want that. So most likely the winner should, I don't even want to say most likely, the winner should fight, let's put it out there, the winner should fight Terence Crawford. You know what I mean? Let's just put it out. The winner of this one should fight Terence Crawford. There's no other fight that we want to see.
But you and I both know why that won't happen. Like, it won't happen. It probably won't happen right away. Promoters are like I swear, promoters and politicians, man, they're some of the jankiest people that ever walked Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I really believe a promoter knows if certain fights happen, they are scared that they will not necessarily get another paycheck ever again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is unfair. You know, I heard what was Haney about Floyd was not necessarily let him fight certain people or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I think Davis, because he's a free agent apparently after this fight with Rolly. He's a free agent. So, you know, it sucks because the fans have to suffer because of that. You know, we have to get certain fights that, you know, we wanted to see either not happening or happening too late.
Right.
For whatever reason. That's why I got a lot of respect for Devin Haney, because during the whole George Kambosos negotiation, he came out and said, look, I'm going to take less money. I know the game. I'm going to take less money because I'm not the champ right now. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go to the champ's crib. I'm going to beat the champ. Guess what? Now I'm the guy.
Yeah.
That's how it works. You can't go in there automatically expecting that you the head honcho. So if it's a certain situation where you got to take a little bit less money to beat the champion, I know you feel like you can beat the champion, or you wouldn't even be trying to get the fight. You wouldn't even be in the game in general unless you think you can be the best.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so
all these cats. It ain't, and honestly, and people don't agree with me when I say this. Yeah, fighters want to get paid. I understand. It's really not really about the money for these fighters. At the end of the day, I mean, yeah, they've had more fights, you know, through amateurs and training than anybody will ever know. Right. So the fact that they have already conquered to get to the point to where they are a pay-per-view name, they want to be a marketable pay-per-view name, but it's not really about the money. All of these guys, they want to be able to eventually say that they are the best. You know, because here we are, it's 2022, and the best middleweight boxing era is still the 1980s, I think, with the Four Kings. So when you got cats that they want to be able to say, all right, I got to be able to top that. I got to be able to put my name in the talk with Hagler and Duran and Hearns, you know, which I don't think we'll see that, you know, anytime soon if things keep going the way they are with promoters, you know, stalling and blocking certain fights and fighters, you know, aging out. We probably won't see that here. But that's what it really is with fighters. Yeah, they do. They see certain dollar signs. Once they see how much a certain gate is and pay-per-view buys, you know, of course they want to get a piece of the action because they're gonna feel like they're getting pimped if they don't. So, for any fighter, really, especially if you're a fighter on any platform like the Zone or PBC or Top Frank, or even old school ESPN Friday Night Fights. And if that's the highest point you'll ever make, they don't care. They'll never care about how much they, they care about how much money they make. That wasn't why they did it. And I respect Devin Haney for doing what he does, because he knows exactly the bigger picture. He knows the money's gonna come.
Yeah.
And I think for somebody like a Tank Davis, I think, and Floyd knows it too. Tank probably got about 2 more fights, and he has to be careful who the next 2 opponents are, but he has 2 more fights before he will be that go-to pay-per-view premier fighter, to where it was a Tank Davis fight, you automatically got point. You don't care. You don't even care who the opponent is. I see that with Tank Davis. It just needs 2 more bigger names, or maybe he needs the money fight. But some cats, Ugas tonight that's why he needs to show up. A lot of American, especially American fans, they really don't know about him.
Right.
They really don't know about him. And what I've seen, there's a prejudice against people that have beaten Pacquiao. Even if it was a convincing win. I mean, Pacquiao didn't, he didn't necessarily. Pacquiao knew it was time for him to walk away. He walked away. And I wouldn't be surprised if he, had one more exhibition, but that's another story. But Ugas knows when Pacquiao, after that fight, he didn't convince everybody. And Ugas wants to convince the world. You know what I mean? So when you get an opportunity to face somebody, that's been making he's been making a lot of noise in boxing, and Earl Spence, he's got to bring it. So even the worst case scenario is if we get an end result like Triple G and Canelo won, where draw, where it shouldn't have been a draw. But that's the worst case scenario, and I'm really hoping that Ugas's name a little bit more gets a lot of clout now, because he needs to be you always want to be top 2, but it's always that third person. No matter what division, it's always that third person. It's like, nah, it ain't just you know what I mean?
Yep, you definitely right about that, man. Yeah. And I think Ugas does bring, because number one, it's something about them Cuban fighters too, man. Some about them Cuban fighters, they're just hungry, and they're back in boxing now, man. Shout out to Cuba, man. Ban got lifted, 60 years, man. So I think we're going to see a whole influx of talent, bro, just like a whole wave just come in and just smack the boxing world. Kind of like the NWO did back in the day with WCW, when WCW was doing their thing, and then the NWO just kind of came along and they had a little rivalry. It's going to be something like that. But it's going to be fun for the fans, man, because we're going to see even more talent, you know what I mean, be able to showcase their skills. But I think Ugas does bring it. Whether he wins or loses is going to be tough. I think anything close goes to Errol Spence, because I think that with the way that Errol Spence's trainer is talking, with the way Errol Spence is talking, I know I'm probably insane, because they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. I'm probably insane for entertaining it, because I've heard, let's make the fight happen with Crawford and Spence, let's make the fight happen, but it doesn't happen for whatever reason. So now it should be a point where it's brought up, I'm not going to really pay no attention to it until they put their names on the contract. That's what I should do. Right. But with the little hints that Errol Spence has been dropping, they had a little press conference and everything like that. He was saying, once I, beat Ugas, I'll have this belt, I have this belt, I have this belt, and then there's one more to get, and there was like a little pause. And then there was an interview with Derek James, Errol Spence's trainer, and then they asked him about Crawford. And then he was like, man, I'm getting upset about y'all constantly asking me about Terence Crawford. He was like, because Errol Spence said that he was going to get 3 of the belts, which is what he's in the process of doing. And then they can fight for all the belts, which, I mean, if you look at the business side of everything, that's the best way to do it. those two need to fight for all the belts at 147.
Definitely.
Because those are the two best. So I think if Spence wins tonight, that would be the perfect opportunity to make Crawford Spence, because now you have a situation where, like, even fans that aren't hardcore fans that just casually watch boxing, even they want to see that fight. If you ask boxing fans in general, what's the number one fight that you want to see? The majority of them are going to say Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Right. That's what the majority of people. So, you know, the money's there. You just got to set the platform, and the platform would be for all the belts. That would be the best way to do it. To be honest with you, bro, they can charge $100 for that pay-per-view and get it.
You know what? You know what? I'll say, and I really don't like to hate on the cat. If Logan and Jake Paul can sell anything, I'll pay for any actual boxing that I've been following. I don't really follow the Pauls like that, but they're obviously making some noise as far as, you know, their name and everything.
Right.
The last fight, I forgot who he fought, but I know they were selling the fight. I know he sold it for like $75 or something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and if you got HD satellite or whatever, you're gonna pay. You gonna post something anyway. I'll pay $100 for it. And truth be told, as a boxing fan, I'll pay $100 for any boxing match. Me. If you know and respect the game, you know the game. You know you want to see somebody, I'm gonna pay for it. What I say, and another reason I'm going with Spence, before I forget, Spence doesn't necessarily like to get criticism that isn't true in his opinion. And nobody really. He gets in the car accident, and they were talking about you know, Crawford versus Spence before the car accident. He gets in the car accident, and like, oh, you go head on the pole so you can avoid Crawford. All right, then he got a Pacquiao fight set up. He has the injury or whatever. So it's like, all right, now there's two things that stopped you from progressing or getting closer to that big money fight. Yeah. And, you know, and boxing fans already get frustrated when they gotta wait. You know what I mean? We saw with just that whole Bermuda Triangle with Wilder, Joshua, and Fury. You know, all three of them should have fought each other at least once by now. You know, any other time, I think that would have happened. And I think now, same thing with Crawford and Spence. You know, had that accident not happened, we probably would have been talking about the second fight by now. You know what I mean? And I know that, you know, he's got to silence some of these critics, which is why I'm hoping that this fight is going to be a good silencer for him. And, you know, at the same time, I'm hoping it's, you know, going to elevate Ugas' notoriety here on the Western Hemisphere. But at the same time, I'm not seeing a whole lot of support from promotions to make that fight happen, to make that money fight happen. You know what I mean? And it's sad. UFC doesn't have that problem with fighters.
That's why I love the UFC matchmaking that they have, because it all goes through Dana White. You know, for Tia Brothers, it's like, all right, they sit down, it's like they got a ranking system. This person's fighting this person, fight done, this person. Very simple. But with boxing, it's too many hands involved, man. And, you know, even the promoters, like, if you talk about the fights, because you always hear promoters say the fights that fans want to see. If they really going to keep that energy, you know the fight that fans want to see. Don't sit here and try to throw us no BS about trying to hype up another opponent and say, oh, this person's been doing this. I know Conor Bennett's been doing his thing. He's awesome. I hope he keeps doing his thing. I know Jaron Ennis is on his way up. Awesome. Keep doing your thing. I know Keith Thurman is on his way back. Much love and success to him. I hope he does well. Don't try to hype up none of those guys. We know what we want. We want to see Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. So don't try to gas nobody else up and try to make it sound good. So I hope these promoters keep that same energy when they say we put the fights together that fans want to see, because after this fight, you're going to hear, you know, whoever wins, they're going to hear Terence Crawford's name from the media, from internet people. You know, they're gonna hear Terence Crawford's name anywhere. Before we go, man, I think this is the second time somebody left a comment. Your official prediction, man. I know you dropped it. I think they were out of the chat when you dropped your prediction. So, my man, what you got for me? Your final prediction on Spence Ugas.
I'm still gonna say Spence. Or I'm still gonna say Spence. I'm not gonna say I'll take back saying stoppage or knockout. If it happens, I would say the ninth. I just don't see that happening all the way. But if it happens, I got Spence winning this one.
I got man, because like I said, man, I have days where I'm thinking this, I'm thinking this. All right, I got Spence in a split or majority decision.
Okay.
I think that it might be a situation where Ugas might supposed to win the fight, but I think everything centers around that whole Terence Crawford and Errol Spence situation, man. I think anything close, they're going to try to protect that fight because that fight is huge. It's like we just got finished saying, it's the biggest fight in boxing right now. You're talking about they can go anywhere and sell out an arena, put it on pay-per-view for $100. So I think Errol Spence wins by majority or split decision. And hopefully before the year is out, we see Terence Crawford, Errol Spence for undisputed welterweight championship at 147. And just a little preview, man, before I let you go. Just a little preview. Let's just say Errol Spence wins and we get our treat. We get Terence Crawford and we get Errol Spence. Talk to me, my brother. How does that situation play out for you? Now we talking about Big Fish and Bud Crawford. Now we gotta think about this now.
Bud gotta buy edge.
Yeah.
Just because of the activity. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't, like I said, that when you got an injury and a car accident, those two things. Anytime you stop training or fighting, you know what I mean, it slows you down. You know what I mean? It doesn't take away, how good of a fighter you are at all. It doesn't take away your status, nothing like that. But it slows your momentum down, especially going into a big name fight. And I see Bud, and Bud is a hungry man. If there was one fighter, I'd say that if they said, "Hey, we're not paying you in money, we're gonna pay you in Bitcoin or Cheetos or something," Bud Crawford is crazy enough to still fight the way he is. and that's a dangerous person.
Yeah,
a dangerous person. When they want to, when he fought, who did he fight back in? Who did Bud fight back in November?
Porter.
When he fought Porter. You know what I mean? And Sean had some good moments in that fight. And once that corner said, "Oh, I'm down." Oh, okay. He turned it around.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be as easy. Now say Bud had the same stuff that went on with Spence. Say Bud had a car accident. Say Bud had some type of injury where he had to do the fight. He wouldn't have had that mentality come in as easy, and then you're gonna come in that next round and you're gonna change the fight and then win it. It's just something. It's a mindset that's just not going to allow you to get there. It's almost like you want to be careful. You don't want to aggravate an injury you might have. A small injury or re-hurt something. But if we get our wish, if we get the fight everybody wants between Crawford and Spence, I'd go with Bud.
Yeah,
I gotta go with Bud. I mean, and that hurts me to say because I love Spence as a G. I mean,
I know. It's like you got to pick one. You hate to, it's like, man, I got to pick one out of these two, man. I tell you what, if that fight happens, I'm taking like a whole day. And I'm going to make it into it. It's going to be like one big party, you know what I'm saying? Y'all might catch me live drinking and, you know what I mean? Just because, like we said, man, we boxing fans. And if you ask boxing fans, like we said, that number one fight, is at the top of the list is Crawford and Spence. But if I had to pick one, man, I'm picking Crawford. Just like what you said, that mindset. You know, it seems like Bud just has that level that he taps into. You know what I mean? He just has something that when he taps into it, he becomes Bud. Becomes Bud. I guess the best way to say it, just like you said it perfectly, when he was on the stool and he said, you know, you're down. He was like, oh, word, I'm down. The whole fight changed after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
not every fighter can do that.
Absolutely.
You know, the mindset, hey, I'm getting my ass whooped. I got to get out and I got to start swinging. Nah, he went in and changed the whole momentum. He started doing more defense, and then when he picked his shots, he picked the speed. He didn't just throw, you know, he didn't just see, you know, okay, I'm gonna go for a body shot. Nah, he did some feint. You know, he got the jabs in on him, and we saw what happened.
Yes, sir.
I don't see that in Terence Crawford. Now, if Terence fight like that tonight, ask me tomorrow. if Terence Crawford's on the stool tonight and he's losing in the fight, and his trainer lets him know, like, hey, you're losing, you're down, and he comes back out and he, you know, ends up beating new guys in the next round or two, then I gotta do homework. I gotta look over it.
Oh, yeah.
No,
go ahead. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say it's like that Mamba mentality. You know, you know, it's like not everybody can tap into it. So if Spence can do it, I might have to do some reconsidering.
Yeah, and that's gonna make the fight even that much sweeter to see if Spence, and he probably does have that in him. You know, and if we see that tonight, that's going to make the fight with Crawford even that much sweeter, especially if he gets a knockout. If he gets a knockout, you know, now fans are like, yo, please give me that fight, dog. You know what I mean? He's like, you got to stop teasing us now, man. Yeah. So, you know, we'll see, man. And there's so many conversations, like we said, that can be had after this fight. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're going to have a lot to talk about once this fight goes down, my brother. I'm going to let you go.
Definitely, man.
You rock with me, you know, for a good part of the show, man. You know, I always appreciate you coming through, man, and talking boxing with me.
Good time, man.
Absolutely. Is there anybody that you want to show love to right now? Anybody you want to shout out? Platform is yours, my brother.
Everybody that's already, if any followers that's on my page following, you know, really any boxing fan out there, just want to say just what's up. Anybody out there that's watching, hit me up in the DMs who you have to fight. I didn't put a post up on my story either about tonight's fight, but let me know. But yeah, say what's up to everybody, and I can't wait for tonight. It's gonna be a nice card too. So
yes, sir. So we got us a good one, man. Hey, we appreciate you too. Thank you for the love in the comment section. Thank you for everybody that stopped through, show love. You know where to find us, man. Every Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's talk boxing. This is episode 9. Like we say, you never know who might stop through. We might have trainers. We might have fighters. We might have fans. That's the beauty part about what we do. And everybody can tap in and we can have this conversation. You know what I mean? We can all talk as boxing fans. It gives like fans the opportunity to interact with trainers and boxers. Like we have Jesse James Lehata sometimes stop through. I'm working on getting Peter Quillen, hopefully, to stop through. So we get a combination of everything, man. That's what's unique about what we do. So, my brother, I absolutely appreciate you for stopping through. And anytime that you're off and you got some time and you see me live on Saturday, please tap in. Everybody else, tap in. I thoroughly enjoy talking boxing with you all, man. So thank you so much for kicking it with me, brother. You know what I mean?
Before I do forget, I do remember my boxing gym out here in the Bay at Valdez Boxing. One of the longtime trainers there just recently passed away, Drew. So anybody out there that knows about Valdez Boxing, he was a pillar in Valdez. Me personally, I had never met him. Only like friends and relatives of mine that were training under him. So. Love and prayers of his family, but anybody else out there that's that is aware of that. You know, definitely big support to y'all for anything you do for Valel Boxing. So check out Valel Pal Boxing if you can. But other than that, I'll see you later on, man. If you get back on tonight, definitely let me know after the fight, and I'll be up.
Sounds good, man. Depending on how I feel, man, I might get online. So if I do decide, my brother, I'll shoot you a message. And anybody else, if you see us live, man, tap in. Let's have this round table. Let's talk about what you think of the fight. What's next for the winner? What's next for the loser? So yeah, I'll be in contact with you. And until next Saturday at 9 p.m., I will see y'all. Y'all take it easy and y'all enjoy these fights, man. Be easy.
Peace.